How's it, chaps, and welcome back to another episode of Burton Builds. Today I'm going to show you how to connect two microphones into one camera, DSLR, mirrorless, whatever it is. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's come about because of one simple reason. I've been using a wireless microphone system for just for one video prior to this. I was going to say two videos, but in the first video where I thought I was actually using the system, well, it wasn't on. So what happened is I was going to record an interview. That was a couple of videos ago. That was about making carbon fiber sheets. So if you haven't seen that, go and check that out. Carbon fiber sheet the easy way. But nevertheless, two of us were both microphoned up, both had lav mics on, and what ended up happening is I forgot to switch the wireless link on, so there was no audio. Luckily, I had this mic plugged in as a third source of audio. Now this is the RODE Wireless Go microphone. Quite a good little microphone, pretty cheap. I think it's like $60 or $70, $1,000. That's South African rands there. And it picked up audio that was good enough to use for the video. Thank goodness for that. So for that not to happen again, just don't forget to switch on the wireless link. But what I wanted to do was to have two audio sources connected into the camera and recording at once. So I want to have my lav mic connected in on one channel, so the left channel, and a standby or secondary microphone, as in the RODE Wireless Go, connected on the right-hand channel. And that's just in case the the wireless link fails, really, or I forget to switch it on, which is most likely going to be the case. So all that it's going to require is basically called a Stereo Breakout Adapter. Well, I don't know if that is the technical term, but that's kind of what people refer it to. Basically, when we plug a microphone into our cameras, it records a left and a right-hand channel from the microphone. And I'm going to use, as I said, each channel for each separate microphone. Now, I have a little camera, not camera adapter, one of these little breakout adapters already. This is a cardboard and copper wire, cheap and nasty, DIY yourself homemade one. It does work. The reason I did this is to test it before I actually made this video. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this one up, and we're going to start again from the beginning, and I'm going to show you exactly how to make the cable. So let's get into it. Looking at the kind of the technical bit, if you're not electrically minded, don't worry. You don't really need to be that good at electronics or that type of thing. All you need to know how to do is to solder, really. The rest I will show you here. So the plug that normally plugs into your camera is a 3.5mm TRS plug. Quite a simple little plug, and this one is kind of it's got a part on where you can, or the back of it, you can actually take off and you can solder on your own wires. So I've got one of these, that's what we're going to need, and we're also going to need two of the female sides. So we've got a male and a female over there. So these two kind of go into and out of each other. These female plugs, they also screw off on the back, and they've got connectors where you can solder on your own little wire connections. I've drawn up a little bit of a CAD drawing here. This is a children's art drawing, not a computer aided drawing. Of course, I can only draw as well as a child. Well, I think some children can actually draw better than me. These little things over here, these are the female sides. That's going to be these pieces. Now, each one of these drawings represents one of those little female sections. And for the male plug has got three connectors on it. It's got a tip, a ring, and a sleeve. So I've drawn it there. There's the tip, the ring, and the sleeve. The female side, now it's difficult to actually see in the hole as it usually is, but if we have a look at the connectors on here have also got connections for a tip, a ring, and a sleeve. So I want to connect two microphones to one camera, as I said. One of them is going to be this RODE Wireless Go, so that's going to kind of collect all the ambient sound and use it as a backup for my primary audio. So we'll connect that into mic number 1. Then for the secondary part of the audio, that's for what I'm talking on now. That's going to be, I'm going to use a lav mic, really, a wireless lav mic. So I'm going to use this kit, the RODE Wireless Go kit. I talked about that also in a previous video, and that is connected to a RODE Smart Lav Plus. Now you can't connect these two directly. You have to use a little adapter, and that's this SC3 RODE adapter. RODE are not the only people that make these, but I'll just use everything the same. It changes the TRRS to a TRS, a tip ring and a sleeve. So on the transmitter side, we plug all of that together, and that runs by itself. And then on the receiver side, that's this bit over here, we're going to plug that into mic number 2. Of course, once these two microphones are plugged in, then this other part of the wire lead, so where did it go? Here we go. Our mics will plug in there and there, and then this other end will plug into the camera. So we'll have our recordings of left or right, just doesn't matter which way it is. One of them, the left channel will be, say, the one microphone, and the right channel will be the other microphone. What we need to remember is the sleeve bit of the tip ring and sleeve connector, the 3.5mm connector that most of our cameras use. That sleeve is used as a common. We want to connect that common to the two commons of the female connectors. Each one of these female connectors, inside there are little pins. So when we stick our male connector in, I've written it actually down here, the little kind of connector over there, it touches onto the sleeve, the next one touches onto the ring, and the next one touches onto the tip. So we've got 3 connectors in each one of our female receptacle thingies, plugs. So this is going to be a wire. We'll connect that up just like that. We'll connect those two up, and then we'll connect that up into there, so that all of the commons or the sleeves are connected together. That is quite important to do. Now, the sleeve is pretty easy to see where it is. If that is our male connector, the sleeve is normally the long one, and it's got a little strain relief part on. Come on, there we go. It's got a little strain relief part. That is normally the common or the sleeve connection. The female is also the same. So the female connection over here has also got a longer piece, and it's also the strain relief. That is going to be the sleeve connection or the common connection. As for the other two, it's again very, very simple. So we're going to take the tip and we're going to connect that to the tip of one of the female sockets. Once we've done that, we're going to connect the ring. That's again the ring here. Now I'm just going to draw it over this line here. We're going to connect the ring. It's going to go along there. It's going to hop over like a little rabbit, and then it's going to connect into the ring of the second female socket or connector. It doesn't matter which way you connect this up, actually. So if you connect the tip onto the second one over here, or if you connect the ring onto the first one over here, it doesn't actually matter. It just means one is going to be left and the other one is going to be right. The most important thing to get correct is connecting the sleeve on the main jack to the sleeve, and the sleeve on both of the female plugs. This is a little jack plug that you can buy from probably Radio Shack or really any hardware store. You can get these things. This one that I have over here was actually an extension. I think it was about 1 meter long, and it had 2 RCA plugs on the one side, and I ended up cutting it off and using it for something else. But I left enough on the end of the jack plug just to use for this type of thing. So I'm going to use this bit. We won't use the little jack plug that I bought. We are, however, going to use the 2 female plugs. Just going to use a scalpel here. Now this is probably a pretty dangerous thing for me to be using. I mean, I probably shouldn't even be using plastic knives. But when I'm not operating in the operating theatre, then I use it in the garage. I do, however, clean it. Use a bit of thinners to clean it. I mean, it's like alcohol, similar. I don't know, I suppose. Don't worry. If they don't see it, it won't matter. I just want to try and open this bit of shrink sleeve or shrink wrap that I put on here. By the way, these were 2 not chassis mount sockets, but they were onboard PCB, breakout sockets, but I think these are better to use. So I've taken this old jack plug, cut the wires off, and skinned the insulation off of them, and then in each wire there's kind of a shielding, and that's going to be your common wire. There's one over there and one over there, and then in the sort of the internal wire, that's the positive or the signal wire, there's a white and a red in this case. Those are a little bit thinner, and there's the one, and there is the other one. Just to check this, we're going to use our trusty old 5 Rand multimeter here. You can hear I'm just testing for continuity. So we want to just test the ring, correction, not the ring, the sleeve. So the sleeve, I've got the connection on here. And we can see the sleeve goes to both of these shielded wires. Then we can test the tip. The tip should go, I'm guessing, to the red. Yep, there we go. I'm touching on the red wire and it's working. And then we can test the sleeve. The sleeve should go to the white. Our little cable is working. So all it's actually left to do is to connect up this piece, or each one of these wires, into each one of these female little connectors. So don't don't do the apprentice error of soldering up everything nicely and then forgetting to put on the shielding, little screw-on shielding piece. So always put those on right from the onset. On the female socket, as I said there, when we put the male socket in here, there's going to be a tip ring and a sleeve. We need to, we know that the long one here is going to be the sleeve. And again, testing for continuity, we just take the one end of the plug, the one end of our testing lead, and we put it on here on the shield. There we go. You can hear it. So the sleeve, sorry, put it on the sleeve on this side and the sleeve on that side. So we also want to test which one of these two connections on this female socket is the tip and which is the ring. One of those connectors, the very short ones, one of them is round and one of them is squared off. So the squared off one is going to be the ring and the rounded off one is going to be the tip. It's actually not that important to know the round or the square or what those are going to be, as long as the signal wire on one of them, let's say on the white cable here, if you solder the signal wire of the one side onto the square bit, onto the square connector, then on the other wire you must solder the signal wire onto the round connector. That way they're both on different connectors. Okay, so let's see if we can solder this whole lot together. Okay, so we got our first bit on. Our first connection has been made. Now I'm not going to crimp this just yet. I'll put the second one on and then we'll test the whole system. And once it is working, then we'll just crimp the strain relief on. On this socket, we soldered it onto the round little connector or round little pin. So on the next socket, we're going to solder it onto the square connector or the square pin. Both connections have been made. Always a good idea to test things, especially electrical items. It's quite easy and it happens really quickly when you think something is correct and you plug it in and the smoke comes out really quickly. Then it's too late. So we've got the sleeve of the male jack plug. Now I'm going to hold one of the wires onto there. That's for our multimeter. And the other side, we can hear that it is working and that it is working. It's also not touching any of the other connections. So just touching it onto each one of those and we don't hear any continuity. The next thing that we're going to do is test the, let's just say the tip. So I'm going to hold it on the tip. Now the tip should be going to, I'm going to guess the red side, which we worked out earlier. So I'm holding it on the tip. There we go, we can hear it. It also shouldn't be going to the ring. And I'm touching it on the ring here, nothing's happening. Then I'm going to hold this on the ring. and it should now go to the white signal wire, which is on this side. Wait, there we go. Sorry. There we go. Now we can hear it nicely. And on the other side, it shouldn't be going there. That's to the red signal wire. And there we go. So our little connection is, well, it's ready. So I'm just going to crimp those together. We'll use a little long nose. Okay, so if you look closely, we've got the left and the right channel. The right hand side is the red signal wire, and that is soldered onto the squared off connector. And then if you look at the left hand side, or the white signal wire, you can see that it's not soldered onto the squared off connector, so I've left that off. Then if we turn it over on the other side, now you can see the white signal wire that is soldered onto the rounded off pin, and then on the left hand side there is nothing soldered off onto the onto the rounded pin. That means each of these wires is going to either the ring or the sleeve. Okay, now we have our stereo breakout connector. So pretty good, and I'm sure it will be working. So let's test it. Now I'm just going to unplug my microphone here, and I'll take it off. So into the camera that you are watching now, that's a Sony a6400. I've got the receiver bit of this wireless setup. So I've actually got two of these. So this bit here that you're watching, and then here's another one. So we are just going to use this bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug this microphone, and we're going to plug this microphone into one of the channels, and then we're going to plug this microphone into the other channel, and then we'll see what happens. So what I've done now is I've taken that little wire cable, that stereo breakout cable that we've just made, and plugged it into the camera, and I've connected both of the RODE Wireless Go receivers, one into the one side and the other one into the other side. On the other end of the connection, we have the two transmitters. Now one of the transmitters is connected to this little shotgun microphone, the RODE Video Go, and the other one is connected to this lapel mic. This one now is not working anymore. So just to prove that it does work, if we take this one now, we'll put it all the way on one end, and we'll take this one onto this end. So if I now just talk into the shotgun mic, you can hear on one of the channels, it's either left or right, one of them will be a lot louder. Then if I go along to this side, to the lapel mic, and I talk into the lapel mic, now you can hear that the other channel is much louder than the previous channel that we were talking about. So this basically shows that we've got two separate recordings now. So we could wire, it doesn't have to be connected to the shotgun mic itself, but we could connect the lapel back into myself, and if there was somebody else, you know, if we were doing an interview or something, then we could connect this transmitter onto that person. Or the way I'm mostly going to use it is I'm going to connect this directly into one of the outlets on the camera, or on the little adapter that we made, the stereo breakout adapter, and then I'll have the RODE receiver plugged into the other one. So if I forget to switch this wireless link on, at least I've got this one as a backup. We are now going to go back to our original audio. So chaps, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't enjoyed the video, then I tell you what, hit the thumbs down button twice. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. It really does help me out with the channel. Keeps me motivated to make all of these little videos. If you've got any comments, leave them in the comments section below. Maybe there's something that you are unsure of, then I'll gladly kind of reply to you, and we'll see if we can sort out the problem. If you're making these little DIY camera adapter cable things, plug them into your camera or equipment at your own risk. Keep that in mind. and we'll see you next time. Cheers.